Hello there, Richie Vitale here. That was a song called Lover. My solo started in the middle of the song from the last 6 bars of the bridge, and then letter A was the last A section of the tune. So the beginning of the chorus of Lover begins at letter B. Note the C sharp in the second bar. This is the sharp fourth of a G7, or as I like to think of it, the major seventh of a D minor chord. In the fourth bar of the beginning of the solo, you will also notice an F sharp. This is the sharp fourth of a C7, and as I like to think of it, the major seventh of a G minor chord. When I was a kid, James Moody said something encouraging to me. He said he liked the way I transpose lines. So here I am basically transposing a line from a G7 to a C7, or from a D minor to a G minor 7. The third through the 10th bar of letter A are all variations on a theme, the theme being the third and the fourth bar over an E7. I could have played the motifs all similar, but that would be boring. That's a little boring, so instead I play the phrases like this. And of course, 2 bars before B, and the 2 bars following after letter B are a quote from the song Buttons and Bows. Over the E7, over the 3rd and 4th bars of letter B, begins another motif. Normally, I would play the full phrase that would be over a 2-5-1, like this, on pages 49 and 50 of my pink book called Lyrical Approach, Supplemental Book 1. You'll see in the 5th through the 8th bars I use a truncated version of the 2-5-1 phrase. Now, at letter C, I do the same thing. I start on the 3rd and the 4th bar over an E7, playing the root of an E with a half step between the root and the flat 7th, and then going up to the 9th of B. This is where the fun begins. Over the E flat 7, I'm starting on the 9th of a B flat minor 7 and play the same motif over the D7 for 2 bars. Then over a C sharp 7, I first play a G sharp arpeggio going up thirds to the 9th of a G sharp minor 7, and then you'll see this motif repeated again starting on the 9th of a G minor 7 over the C7 at bars 49 and 50. Now I'm using a lot of rhythmic displacement in these lines when I start on the 9th of a minor chord, and that makes it more interesting. What is rhythmic displacement, you may ask? Very much like when you hear the monk blues called Straight No Chaser. That's rhythmic displacement. I'm just moving the rhythm around and basically keeping the same notes as I go down half steps. I like to tell students to practice going up to the 9th of a minor chord like this from pages 54 and 55 of my yellow book, Modern Patterns, Part 2. At the bridge, at letter D, I begin by quoting the song Hollywood. There were many jazz musicians that didn't quote very much, like Miles Davis, Chet Baker, and Art Farmer. But when I heard Sonny Rollins play Swanee River, I almost fell over in my chair. So quoting tunes, as long as it's a small portion of that song, is a personal choice. At Lettery Again is a motif repeated several times. It's kind of like the song Buttons and Bows again, but originally I don't think what the musicians were thinking about when they played this phrase. It's the third, fifth, root, ninth, and third again of a major or a dominant chord. Notice over the F major chord, I'm an octave lower than I am for the E7 and E flat 7 that follow. Sometimes it just shines more when you're soloing with a rhythm section to take a line up an octave. Bars 79 and 80 are very much like a Lee Morgan line that I learned when I was a kid. This incorporates the fifth to the sixth and then the root to the second of a dominant chord. Then repeating the same thing down an octave. That's the original Lee Morgan line. Over bars 82 and 83, you see me using a C sharp, which is a half step between the second and the root of a C7. In fact, in bars 82 and 83, I continue this with a half step between the root and the flat seventh, with the note B natural. This is all from a method I learned from Barry Harris classes, where in a descending dominant, you can put half steps between the root and the flat seventh, or between the sixth and the fifth, or between the second and the root. Also, many times I'll play half steps between the third and the root of a dominant at the beginning of a descending line. For instance, now I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on blowing over the song Lover. All of my books are available at my website, richievitale.com, with a full explanation of each book. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below. Also, please subscribe to my channel for updates on my newest jazz videos. On my Patreon page, you'll see PDFs of my lessons and insider tips there. Please feel free to go to patreon.com/RichieVitale and join up to help in this jazz journey. Thank you for watching and happy practicing.